Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm Mike B, and today we're going to be talking about the old debate of to sporterize or not to sporterize military surplus firearms. So this has been brought up since before my channel has even existed, and is something that's been debated by purists and Bubba almost as hardcore as politics or religion. I've personally been involved with a few of these dick-wagging, heels dug in, fuck your opinion, clown, sort of stupid debates on forums and Facebook back in the day, but since I've gotten a little bit older and got out of the trolling game for the most part, I've come to a more moderate position on this, so I'll tell you my personal preference, and then we'll get into why my personal preference doesn't really matter. First of all, we do need to get some information out there so somebody's kind of got a background and they have a frame of reference for the rest of this super high quality video rant. So, first of all, what is sporterizing? Well, there's no really official definition that I see, but basically it's the act of taking a military surplus firearm from any country at any time and modifying the weapon from its original military configuration into a more quote-unquote like civilian looking and feeling firearm, like a hunting firearm, you know? That's my loose definition. It's not necessarily correct, but that's the way I see it. So why is this even the thing? In the 20th century, the advent of both the world wars, at the beginning of at the beginning and in the middle of the century, and constantly changing and improving technology, armies around the world would oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes retire or remove old weapons that were outdated to make room for newer weapons. And then, I don't know exactly when this happened, but in the US, I think it was in the early 1900s, but I don't know when it happened in Europe, but they would also start selling the surplus, that they were getting rid of. Instead of just destroying it, they would sell the surplus to a private company for sale on the civilian market. And this didn't just happen in the US, it happened in Europe too, but I think the biggest market was probably in the US. And because they were bought so incredibly cheap, usually by weight, like by the metric ton or the imperial ton, a couple pennies on, per ton. It was insane how much these people were paying. No, but still the government, got somewhat of a return on their investment. But anyway, I digress. So the companies that were aiming to sell these to the public were able to offer them at much lower prices because of that than most commercial firearms were going to cost at that time. So just for an example, don't pay attention to the numbers. I'm just going to kind of do the idea because these numbers are not accurate. But let's just say in the 1950s or whatever, a regular old Winchester model 1894 in 30-30 costed $50, right? We'll just say it cost $50 at this given day and point in time. But at the same location, at the same time, there are US model 1917 rifles, the guy on the top right there, for $25 a piece. 30-06 has been a common hunting caliber for a long time, so why wouldn't you want to save 50% for a rifle that you can still put food on your table with? Well, some people who were not used to the weight and the length and just the general size of a lot of these military surplus rifles decided to remove as much weight as possible by cutting stocks, cutting barrels down to make them shorter and lighter. And oftentimes they'd replace the sights, the front sights, or both, or they'd add sights and they'd drill and tap the receiver for a scope mount, etc., etc. And they do this for a couple reasons. One, to, reduce weight, and they also gave them less of a military appearance and more of a hunting rifle appearance. Now, that's all, in quotes right there. It's not really like a accurate couple terms, but that's generally the idea behind sporterizing. There's books and everything. Now, because these rifles were so plentiful and cheap, very few people actually kept them in original military configuration. I mean, you got to remember there's hundreds of thousands of these floating around, in some cases millions, so it's not like everybody did this, but quite a few people back in the day did. It was also a popular trend, you go, oh, hey, look at what I just did, I just got this rifle, and look what I did, oh, nice, I like the stock, I like this, So it was kind of a cultural thing, too, in the U.S. And collecting really wasn't that popular back then, because especially when more people hunted for their food, there were also entire companies who would import, for example, Argentine model 1891 Mausers, the guy in the middle, directly from Argentina, and would they themselves, at a factory that they had in the US, after they imported these rifles, cut down the stocks, barrels, and bent the bolts to make more of a hunting rifle that they could still sell for much less than their competitors, but would still be making money hand over fist in the process. So that was really interesting too. They were all uniform, they're all generally the same size and everything. It was pretty interesting. I didn't know that there was companies that did that until I forgot the name of the company, otherwise I'd have put it in this video. Sorry about that. Maybe someday I'll make a video on that. Anyway, Here is where the debate starts coming into play, though. Some people did these modifications in their garage with crude tools, and they just generally did a shitty job, and they just did the bare minimum as to make it look okay, as they viewed it as more of a tool and nothing more. And that's understandable. There are also beautiful examples of actual gunsmith who did fantastic jobs. Just Google nice sporterized rifles, and you should be able to find some examples. I don't have any, otherwise I'd be featuring them in this video. That's why I just had to use. This is 3 really common models that I've seen sporterized throughout. I mean, there's a couple more like Mausers and stuff, but the top one's a Winchester model 1917. The middle one's an Argentine 1891, and the bottom is the U.S. rifle model 1903 or the 1903 Springfield. All 3 of these, I mean, I've seen hundreds of examples in my just going through gun shows, pawn shops, gun stores. But anyway, I don't have any personally to show you, so that's why I'm using these that are in original configuration. So now that we understand all that, we'll get to my actual stance. Thank you for sitting through that, but I needed to lay the groundwork down so people if they don't know what sporterizing is, now they do, hopefully. I personally will not sporterize a military surplus firearm. I've brought back sporterized surplus guns in the past from, being sporterized into and then putting them back in the original configuration, but I will not permanently alter any of my surplus rifles. Why is this? Because as we could see recently, these hold much more value in their original configuration than they do sporterized due to their massive surge in collecting in the past 20 or 30 years. I'm talking monetary value. I'm not talking utilitarian value. That's a totally different conversation. But why would I destroy something and, it's like getting a brand new car and then beating the shit out of it and putting a bunch of dents in it. So not only is it depreciated, but you just lost a lot of return on potential investment. I have these for collecting, I have these for shooting, I enjoy the hobby, but it's also something that's pretty liquid if I ever fall on hard times, which I have before, and I've used surplus to get out of those hard times. So that's why I say that it is what it is. So there are a finite amount of these weapons in the world, and every time someone permanently alters one by cutting the barrel, drilling and tapping for a scope mount, chopping the stock, or bending the bolt, another collectible that is really not replaceable has been destroyed and taken out of the supply pool. Most of these have not been manufactured in 70 plus years at least, but they are still making Winchester Model 1894 and Model 70 rifles today, so that's something to consider. That's my personal stance, but my stance on whether other people should do it or not do it is a lot like what I've said in some of my other videos with a lot of things. It's not my weapon, therefore, who the fuck am I to tell somebody what they can or can't do with their property? I wouldn't do it myself, as I just said, but if someone thinks they want to chop up one of these old rifles and kill the history collector value part because it'll look more tactical, hey, go for it. It's your rifle. It's not mine. I will, however, simply state that every time someone destroys one of these weapons, mine and everyone else who doesn't alter them has a bit of a boost in our value due to the finite supply. Like, it's a fraction of a penny, because there is still, several 100,000 of these, but hey, a penny is a penny. So in conclusion, I won't do it to my rifles and will discourage it if asked, but in the end, if it's not yours, who are you to tell other people what to do? It sucks as the historical originality isn't there, and again, a piece of history is destroyed, blah, blah, blah. But consider this, the rifle is starting a new chapter of its history when it's altered in its new configuration. So that's about all I really have to say on that topic. To be honest, let me know what you think. I really appreciate you watching, everybody. If you like this video, please consider supporting my work on Patreon. $1 a month or $12 a year. $5 a month or more gets you access to my Discord server, which is a really fun time. I think so, at least. Your mileage may vary, but I think it's a pretty fun time on there. Anyway, your Patreon support helps to fund like cool educational video content like helmet ballistic tests, camouflage, familiarity, other antiques, helmets. Do a lot of helmet videos. That's my favorite thing. Anyway, like range shooting videos and several other types of educational content that cost a significant amount of money to produce, because I can't really fund this out of pocket anymore. I've been doing it for a long time, and I'm just kind of trying to catch up. But anyway, that's not your problem, but I just wanted to let you know that's why, I do have a full-time job and all that stuff. But anyway, thanks to my current patrons. If you can't support the channel or don't want to, I totally get it, and it's totally fine. It's your choice. But that being said, I really do appreciate everyone who watches my videos. And again, I want to thank you guys for watching this. And I guess we'll see you on the next video.